So when we see the minus 9, we add 9 to both sides, and we get x is equal to 7. Letter B is different because it says 3 halves times x is 24. This is a common one that people are like, well, shoot, I don't remember what to do there. Do you remember how to get rid of this fraction in front? There's a couple ways to do it. It's not just one way. Remember what we do? We multiply by the reciprocal. So watch what happens. The 2's cancel and the 3's cancel, leaving you with just that 1x. And then people wonder, how do we do 24 times 2/3? Well, this is like 24 over 1. Okay? So you got two ways of doing it. Okay? If you multiply the top, you get 48. And if you multiply the bottom, you get 3. So it'd be 48 over 3. Or you could do this. You could do this as well. You divide by the bottom, you multiply by the top. What's 24 divided by 3? 8 times 2, 16. So you divide by the bottom, you multiply by the top. So we get x is 16 in that situation. Okay? And in the next one, we have negative 31 is equal to negative 4 plus x. Notice I moved the x into a different position. We don't necessarily focus on addition here. We focus on the 4. Is the 4 positive or negative? So therefore, I add 4. So you don't look at the operation. You look at the value of the number. If it's a negative 4, you add 4. If it's a positive 4, you subtract 4. So we add 4 to both sides. We get negative 27 is x. So that's a basic review of one-step equations. Sometimes we come across two-step equations. What are you going to do for letter A? Going to subtract our 18. We're left with x divided by 3 is equal to negative 5. And how do I get rid of dividing by 3? I'm going to multiply both sides by 3. And so x is negative 15. Letter B, start by doing what to both sides? Yep, add the 36. And I get 57 is equal to negative 3x. Divide both sides by negative 3. And if you have to take out your calculator for that, that's fine. But you should get a negative 19 is equal to x. Okay, got to kind of teach you strategy here. You look at the next one, and the next one right away, you see the fraction, your brain starts to shut down a little bit, right? Let's admit it. When we see fractions, our brain goes to kaputs a little bit. Happens in my pre-calc class, happens in my calc class. People are like, I don't like the fraction. I get it. Don't focus on the fraction right away. Just focus on the plus 15. Let's start by subtracting 15 from both sides. You get negative 5 over 3x is equal to negative 60. We talked about this earlier. Fractions are problems, but how do we get rid of a fraction? We multiply by the reciprocal. So we multiply by negative 3 over 5. So you can see what happens here, okay? The 3 and the 3 cancel. The negative and the negative cancel. And the 5 and the 5 cancel. I'm left with just x. And on this side, again, if you want to, you can multiply the tops, divide by the bottom. Negative 60 times negative 3 is 180. And the bottom is 5. So on your calculator, you can do 180 divided by 5. And you should get 36. Do people have a calculator, or would you like me to have a classroom set? I don't mind going to borrow a classroom set. Be nice to have some on hand. Okay, I'll get some on hand for us. That's usually a request I have here. All right, so those are two-step equations. We're going to do a little bit more and then give you some time to work on your study guide. What's different about letter A? I need to distribute. There are two ways to do this. You get an option. We're going to do what Sasso says. We're going to distribute the 4, and I get 4x minus 32 is equal to 28. Next, I can add the 32 to both sides. And I get 4x is equal to 60. Divide both sides by 4, and x is what? 15. Can I show you a different way of doing it that some of you might prefer? Here's a different way of doing it. Notice it says 4 times x minus 8 is equal to 28. Notice how everything here is being multiplied by 4. So instead of distributing, you could actually divide both sides by 4 right away and get x minus 8 is equal to 7. Now when you add the 8, you get x is 15. See that option? So you got two options in that situation. And that's going to help us with letter B. Is everything being multiplied by 3? Everything right here, but is the 6 being multiplied by 3? It's not. So before you do anything, what should you move over first? The 6. So we subtract 6 from both sides. And I get 3 times the quantity, x minus 1 is equal to 12. If you want to distribute, can you distribute? Yep. If you don't want to distribute, what could you do? Divide. I'll divide that 3 off. And I get x minus 1 is equal to 4. Add the 1, and I get x is 5. Sometimes people are like, Mr. Gantz, I got my own way of doing things. I don't like dividing that 3 off like that. That's fine. There's multiple ways of doing it. We'll do it probably the way that your Algebra 1 teacher taught you. We're going to start here. Here's a mistake that people make. They add the 4 and the 2 right away. Can't do that. Order of operations says you gotta do your multiplication first. You got to distribute. So I'll distribute. And I get 4 plus 2x plus 20 is equal to 24. What would you like to do now? Yeah, we can put the 20 and the 4 together. So 2x plus 24 is equal to 24. Now I can subtract the 24. I get 2x is 0. Sometimes people get confused when you get 0 on the other side. If I divide by 2, 0 over anything is 0. Suppose I'm on the test and I'm like, shoot, I came up with 0. I'm not feeling very confident in my answer. What could you do? What could you do to check your answer? Plug it back in. Raleigh says 0 plus 10 is 10, times 2 is 20, plus 4 is 24. So it works out. So I'm that guy. My kids come home from school. They said, I had a test today, Dad, in math. I said, how did it go? They're like, fine. I'm like, well, what was your score? They're like, I don't know. I'm like, how do you not know your score? They said, well, the teacher didn't grade it yet. I said, should still know your score. Like, how? I said, you should have been able to check your answers on every single problem. So next time they come home, I said, how'd it go? They're like, I got them all right. So how do you know? I said, I check my answers on every single problem. Okay, so excellent mathematicians know ways to check their answers in all situations. Okay, Now you might be like, Mr. Gens, I wouldn't like to have you as a dad because you sound like you're kind of mean like that. Daughter number 1, her birthday is on Sunday. And our tradition, our family, is that when it's your birthday, you get to pick your birthday supper. So what would you pick for your birthday supper? Get to have anything. What do you want? What would you want? Olive Garden. Okay, I'll take her to Olive Garden if she wants. Raleigh, what would you want? Outback. Cav? You don't like food? What would you have? Okay. So my oldest usually asks for homemade macaroni and cheese, loaded mashed potatoes. So mashed potatoes with like bacon and cheese and chives and stuff like that. Cornbread muffins with honey on top. And then barbecue baby back ribs. What do you think? Jason's saying, no, I want my Olive Garden, right? You want your pasta. Never ending pasta bowl. Let's go. I agree. So my kids don't have it too bad. Don't feel too bad for them. All right, a couple more problems. Letter D. What do you want to do? Do you want to distribute the 3 or do you want to divide by the 3? It's up to you. What would you do? You would distribute. You like that way. And that's fine. Okay? Everybody's got to choose what works for them and what they like. So I get 6x plus 21 is equal to 42. Subtract the 21. I get 6x is equal to 21. I divide by 6. Uh-oh, 6 doesn't go evenly into 21, does it? But the top and bottom are both divisible by 3. So we get 7 halves. Okay? Morgan, where are you going for supper if it's your birthday?
I don't know.
Oh, all right. My birthday is on December 22nd. Mr. Luther got me this really nice track sweatshirt. Thank you, Mr. Luther. He's a nice guy. We exchanged gifts. He's my friend. My birthday, we did T-bone steaks. Well, actually, no, I did a porterhouse. So that's a bigger T-bone. With au gratin potatoes, homemade macaroni and cheese, some ice cream, some cake, and then watch Lord of the Rings while I drank a Mountain Dew. Oh, my stomach is happy. Anybody a Lord of the Rings fan? Like, oh, it's awesome. I love it. If I could be any character on any movie, I'd be Gandalf. Gandalf rocks. Okay, I want to be Gandalf. All right, letter E. This one's tricky. What do you got to do first? Distribute the negative. This is like a -1. So it's 4, and it's a minus x, and it's a minus 9 is 15. When you see a negative sitting in front of parentheses, you got to distribute the negative. I'm going to combine like terms. I'm going to combine +4 and -9. +4 and -9 make -5. Now I want to solve. So I'm going to add the 5 to both sides. -x is equal to 20. And I divide by -1 to be x is -20. Okay, a little bit more challenging. We're going to go through example B here, so we're going to do 3 more, then we'll give you guys time to work back on that study guide. What do you want to do for letter F first? 8 minus 2 is 6, right? Yes? No. Nope, can't do that. First you have to distribute. The 2. Is the 2 positive or negative? It's negative because of the subtraction sign. So we're going to distribute a -2. So it's 8 minus 2x minus 10. Distribute the negative all the way through. Combine your like terms. We have 8 and negative 10 make negative 2. Add the 2 to both sides, and we get negative 14. Divide by negative 2, x is 7. All right, last two we do. What's different about these? You have x's on both sides, okay? So it's up to you. Sometimes people are like, I always want to put my x's on my left-hand side. In this situation, it's okay to also put your x's on your right-hand side. So I'm going to move these two x's over here. I have 48 is equal to 4x. And I divide by 4. It's okay if the x is on the right-hand side. I get 12 is equal to x. Suppose your person says, I want to bring my x's to the left-hand side. Go ahead. Subtract your 9x. And when you do that, you get positive 9x. You have a minus 36. What's on the right-hand side in this situation then? 0. Add my 36. 9x is 36 and divide by 9. X is 4. So that'll save some time. We usually spend 2 days on solving equations. After your test on Tuesday, then on Wednesday, on a Wednesday, then on Thursday, we'll come back and review some of this, and we'll talk a little bit more about solving equations. But I thought that this would kind of, create a good kind of introduction to what we wanted to do. You can turn to your study guide. You don't have to work on any assignment from this right now. I'll get you those next week. But right now, you can turn to your study guide and homework. The study guide answer key is right here. And the worksheets are right here. So you can use this time to work and ask on any questions that you have from the stuff we've covered for coming up for the test. I'm going to come around and check in with you, make sure you're good to go.